4 super important things to think about early on in your AKT preparation. Hi guys, I'm Dr. Aman Arora from Arora Medical Education. I've been helping doctors pass AKT now for, 10 plus years, something like that. And there are certain things that I see people struggle with. And obviously as time gets on and get close to the exam, people start to stress and there are certain things to focus on then. But what are things to think about focusing on early on in your preparation when the pressure isn't on at this point, when you're not probably overwhelmed by everything that you need to do before you start getting into the meat of your preparation, when you haven't really started focusing on things like curriculums and what to cover and which materials to use? What are those 4 things to think about early on that can really help you later on in your preparation? A lot of you guys are starting to prepare for AKT at this point, and I really hope this video helps. 4 things that we're going to focus on in this video are: number 1, make sure you plan and think about a timeline at some point. Number 2, make sure you think about your dual prep approach that I'll talk about in a short while. Number 3, make sure you focus on your weakest areas first. And number 4, make sure you plan for those hard days where you really can't be bothered. And I really hope this, alongside some of our resources that we do for AKT, can help you prepare in the best possible method. Let's get started. Number 1, have a timeline or some kind of plan in place. I often see doctors who get towards, trainees who get towards 2 weeks or 4 weeks or 6 weeks for their exam, and they really panic because they suddenly think, gosh, there's so much I need to cover, and where did all this new material come from, and where is all my time gone? And it starts to get really stressful because the AKT curriculum is huge. The MRCGP curriculum is huge. It is basically the whole of medicine. So if you don't have some kind of idea in advance of when you're going to start to get through certain things, the pressure is going to build. So make sure you get a bit of an idea of what do I need to cover, and have some kind of loose framework about, okay, this week I'm doing this, or this month I'm doing this, or in these few days I'm doing this. But just have some kind of idea about where you're going, because that takes a lot of pressure off you right now. Because yes, you may have 2 months or 4 months or 6 months to your exam, and you may think, gosh, how am I going to fit everything in? There's so much stuff. How am I going to have enough time? But if it's all kind of written out and scheduled, you can have that sense of, okay, as long as I stick to this, then I will get through everything by the time I need to for my exam. Now, if you haven't got a planner created already, then just go to the website and use one of our free planners. We've done it for you. You can download them, print them, stick them on your wall, day-by-day guides as to what I should be covering. But again, it takes the pressure off thinking, what do I need to cover today? Or how much do I need to do before I understand cardiology? So go to the website, print them. We've got a 270-day planner. If you're really ahead of the game, we've got a 180-day planner, 150, 120, a 90, a 60, and a 30-day free planner. Just print it off, stick it on the wall. It'll tell you exactly what to cover on each day. But again, you need some system, some plan, some timeline, and you need to create it early on so that pressure goes off your back, that how am I going to achieve all of this material before I get to my exam? So that's the first thing. Make sure you have some kind of plan or some kind of timeline in mind early on. Number 2, make sure you're focusing on the dual preparation approach. Now, I've got a video somewhere else about what the dual preparation approach is, but in essence, you need to make sure early on that you're going to target 2 things in your preparation. Number 1, you're going to target knowledge buildup, and number 2, you're going to target problem solving and practice of questions. You can't just focus on one and neglect the other, okay? So technique needs to improve by doing lots of questions, and a lot of you guys will sign up to question banks and obviously do little bits of questions here or there. And that's really important because your brain has to get problem solving. You need to be understanding, the kind of techniques that we talk about and teach about when it comes to AKT. But similarly, you need the second part of the dual prep approach. You can't rely on questions to cover all your material. You need a plan as to where am I going to go to build up knowledge? How am I going to increase my knowledge from A to B? Because question banks will cover a condition, and you might do 10 different questions on one condition, and they're all going to cover small snippets of the guideline, for example, a bit on diagnosis, a bit on investigations, a little bit here on first line of management. So you get to know that bit very well, but to know the whole process of the condition, because you don't know where the question is going to come up from in the exam, you need to have some kind of backup and go through things from a knowledge build-up point of view. So whether you use online courses like we have, or audio courses, or flashcards, or whatever you do, read textbooks, read guidelines from nice CKS, just make sure at some point in your preparation you've got an idea about how you're going to take on the technique side of things and the problem solving side of things. That's usually where question banks come in, but also make sure you plan and understand the need to increase knowledge at the same time. And one thing that I did a very simple 50-50 approach. So I would say, look, when I did my AKT preparation, I would say, look, whatever time I have, it's an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 50% of that time is going to be based on problem solving, and 50% is going to be based on knowledge buildup. And that combination, that dual prep approach, as long as you understand it early on and start to initiate it early on, you realize by the time you get close to your exam, your confidence levels will be sky high because you know so much, but you've practiced so much at the same time. So number 2, make sure you focus on the dual preparation approach when it comes to AKT. Number 3, and this is a really important one, target your weakest areas first. Now, so often I see people preparing for AKT and trainees will contact me and say, oh, I've still got stats to do, or I've still got admin to do, or I've still got genetics to do, or I've still got women's health to do, because I hate those things and I'm leaving them till the end. Can you see already how that energy is being drained? You're already thinking, oh, I've got to do those things in the future. And it's kind of always there in the back of your mind. You're doing something that you enjoy right now, but I've got to do this thing I don't like. One thing we always talk about is at the beginning, early on in your AKT preparation, get those things off your back, okay? Deal with those things that you don't want to do first. Deal with the things that you find hardest first. Deal with the things that, you kind of know that have to be done, but I don't really want to do them. Just get those topics out the way early on, because the confidence that you get from doing that is huge, because then, all those horrible things that I was putting off and thinking that I've got to do them are done. Now, yes, of course, you're going to have to come back to them and do them again and review them at some point, but at least that initial step has been taken, and the road ahead of you seems a little bit more straightforward, rather than doing all the things that you love doing first. I don't know, maybe you love doing endocrinology or you love doing ENT. So let's start with that. That's what tends to happen at the beginning of preparation periods. But if you start with those things that you don't want to do, the confidence, the momentum is built up so big that you start to just think, okay, this is fine. I'm on track. I know where I'm going. This is going to be fine. Okay, so if you're early on in your preparation stage, and early might be, I don't know, a year in advance, 6 months in advance, 3 months in advance, wherever you are. But when you're first starting, get those big things that are sitting on your shoulder in the back of your mind out the way, get on the right track, and start to feel positive about the rest of your preparation. Now, before we go on to number 4, if you're liking this video, please do subscribe to the channel. If you're new to us here on YouTube, or share and like and comment and give me your ideas about how you're preparing for AKT at this point. And hopefully you can find many other AKT videos on the channel if you are new to us. But number 4, in the 4 things you should really focus on early on in your AKT preparation, is plan for the tough days. Okay, plan ahead for those days that you just can't be bothered to do any work. Plan ahead for the days where you feel, oh, I've had a long day at work and I just don't want to open up my laptop. Plan for those days where you think, oh, you know what is the point of all of this? I'm not learning anything anyway. This exam is too tough. Everybody fails. Plan for those days in advance. Okay, when you're in that situation, it's very hard to work out, how do I get out of it and get myself motivated to restart. But if you've planned something in advance, then when that happens, it's all set up ready on a plate. What I mean with planning in advance? Firstly, expect that you're going to have those days, okay? You are human beings. You can have all the motivation that you want in the world. You're going to get some days where you think, oh, I can't be bothered. Life is going to happen, busy on calls, stuff going on at home. There's always going to be situations that drain you at times. So number 1, expect it to happen. Human beings, is going to happen. Number 2, think about maybe 2 or 3 things that you actually like reading about or find easy to read about. That's probably a better way to look at it. Say, for example, you always found ophthalmology easy. Okay, save ophthalmology for the days where you really haven't got the energy to do some high level work. Save ophthalmology for the days where you just can't be bothered and you need something less of a barrier in front of you to get going. So have 2 or 3 topics in mind that are my go-to topics when I don't feel like putting the hard work in and starting genetics or starting endocrinology or something that you find really challenging. Because if you plan something and have something prepared for those days, then when you get to those days, the step up into actually doing the work seems so much smaller, so much less energy, and therefore you end up more often than not actually doing some of that work and feeling like, I pulled this day around and I made it into a day where actually I did something, rather than just think, oh, I can't be bothered, let's do it all tomorrow. Because if you have too many of those, then of course the stress is automatically going to build up as you get close to the exam. So number 4, very important, plan for the tough days, expect them and plan for them, and you'll find that you have less of those days even when you don't feel like doing any work whatsoever. So guys, I hope this has been a super value. AKT is a tough exam, okay? It needs a lot of preparation. It needs a lot of planning. Too often people leave it too late. But these 4 things, if you're at the beginning of your preparation period right now, or at least early on in your preparation, these 4 things can hopefully really help. Number 1, make a timeline, okay? Have something in place that's a guide for you to take the pressure off you needing to think, what do I do today? Number 2, think about the dual preparation approach, okay? Not just one track, not just doing lots of questions, not just reading lots of knowledge, but a combination of the two, okay? Get that dual preparation plan in place early on. Number 3, make sure you focus on your weakest areas first. The areas that you don't want to focus on, start with those, build the momentum. And number 4, make sure you plan for those tough days where you know at some point, I'm not going to be bothered or feel so unmotivated to start. These things are going to be there to pick you up and get you going. Look, guys, I really hope this video has been of some value. If you want 10% off any of our AKT courses or resources, that's AKT mocks, AKT online courses, AKT audio courses, AKT live course, AKT flashcards, and many of the things that we have on the website, please use the coupon Arora Video 10, ARORAVIDEO10 to get 10% off any of those resources. And I really hope at some point we can help in your preparation for AKT and get you past that first hurdle of MRCGP and into the next part of your GP training. I'm Dr. Aman Arora from Arora Medical Education. If you're new to the channel or you like this video, please do subscribe, like, and share. And hopefully we can help you in many other ways when it comes to your AKT preparation. Have a super day. Hashtag Can't Pass Will Pass. Hashtag I Went With Arora. Take care.